On this week's show, we talk about Homestead, Miller, and B-Spec. We talk about SCCA consolidating classes. We talk Formula Drift, and we close the show out with WRC Racing. Welcome to the Insider Report. Welcome to another episode of the Insiders Report. I'm your host, Errol Tucker. Joining me in Cocoa Beach, Florida, Peter Keene. And out in sunny Los Angeles, California, Bill Wood. How you doing, gentlemen?
Excellent.
Wonderful. It's not sunny today, though. It's been cloudy and drizzling most of the day. Your timing is excellent, Errol.
Hey, Errol, I'm wearing a sweatshirt. It's cold in Florida. I'm freezing my ass off. I think it's 60.
Yeah, well, it's cold in Maryland also, so it's cold all over the place, I guess.
And they say
unless you're in Vegas.
There you go.
They say there's no global change in the weather.
That's correct.
You know?
None at all. None at all. So, gentlemen, hot and heavy weekend this weekend. We have Grand Am down at the Grand Prix of Miami. We have World Challenge out in Utah at Miller. And we have the first weekend of B-Spec that everyone has been waiting for, at the pro ranks at least. So, Peter, you know, I know you've spoken to a couple people on both sides of the camp when it comes to B-Spec. You're pretty close with that whole organization. What are you hearing about the two different events?
Well,
what can we expect?
It looks like Homestead, you know, is a pretty strong field. I think that Grand Am was hoping for 15. I think they got 12 confirmed. So that's a pretty good first showing, in my opinion. I mean, everything was so late getting started, so I think that's a great first showing.
Right.
I talked to the boys from SCCA Pro, and I think they're hoping for 8 cars in B-Spec at Miller, and we'll just have to see what turns out. I mean, it's still new. I know that, you know, Irish Mike cut a deal in Virginia to put an extra driver in his second B-Spec car. So Irish Mike will actually have 2 B-Spec cars at Homestead. So I don't really know how that number shakes out. I don't know if that's 12 counting the 2 Mike cars or if it gets bigger. But not great fields, but I mean, for slow as, you know, as slow as the Giddy Up was on the B-Spec deal, I think it's good showing.
So let's look at it this way. It's a pretty good showing for Grand Am, but it's all the way down at the end of Florida, right? So when they come back up north and they run their B-Spec race a little further north, they probably, you know, my thinking is that they're probably going to get a few more participants because some folks, you know, B-Spec is supposed to be an entry-level class, you know, for the club guy who wants to move up. So, you know, some of them have limited budgets. So maybe, you know, the fact that it's so far south, this first event, some people took a pass, and we'll probably see a lot more people at the second event. With that being said, the same thing with Utah.
I agree with you, and I like that, and I'd love to hear Bill's input on this. But essentially, you know, there's a couple things. Definitely, you know, these are 2 extreme races. You know, it's always been very tough to get a crowd at Homestead. I mean, NASCAR can't even get a crowd there, and then Miller's the same way. I mean, Miller's one of the, you know, the prettiest or best facilities that we race on in this country, and nobody ever goes there. So I agree with you on that.
Right.
But what we've been saying all along, and I think Bill will agree, is that the key to B-Spec is to have 15, 20, 30, 40 cars in a wad, you know, and I think that's the pressure as SCCA Club with myself and Kevin Fandozzi and Tom Start is to make sure these things are closely classed so nobody breaks away. You know, there is going to be that weird event that somebody hits a recipe and runs off and leaves the field. But you know, I hope to see at Homestead, you know, a full 12-car pack, and you know, it's almost Daytona trying to get a draft to win the sumbitch. So I think that, you know, that's gonna be the allure. And once people see that and know that that's how the racing was and it was exciting, then I think it'll catch fire.
Right.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of truth to that, Peter. I think the biggest problem they're going to have, I think it's easy to equalize the cars. They prove that in World Challenge. You just put some weight on and take some weight off and it works. But I think the biggest problem is going to be people using it as a springboard, like an entry-level ladder thing.
Right.
And you're going to lose the amateur appeal, and manufacturers who let's see what you do in these cars. And suddenly, the Mazda, Kia, Ford, Mini program has got a special little team that, try my guy out in this car at that race. And if you do well, then we'll take you into Skip Barber or we'll take you wherever else you want to go. And that's going to end up separating the people.
Well, and I agree with you completely, Bill. And I mean, Grand Am's, I think, gone to great extents, that they've really restricted who can get a license, and World Challenge has as well. But I mean, I've been told by Grand Am that first of all, Grand Am does not have a championship. So there's nobody running for a championship. So you can one-off, win, go. It doesn't matter. There's nobody points racing, which I think is a good thing. The second part of that is I've been told secretly by Grand Am that somebody rips off 3, 4, 5 wins, they're going to send them along. They don't want them in B-Spec anymore. They want to move them up the ladder and get them out. They want this to truly be, entry-level guys to get the taste of pro racing. So, I mean, I think those are positive things. It sucks for old guys like me, but, that's the way it goes.
But if that's the case, then that's a good thing. And, I really saw it might be something where you get journalists or, if Irish Mike or somebody else has a special car or 2 or 3 cars. Like, what if I built 2 or 3 cars and then charge people $10 a weekend to come run it?
Right.
That might be another way to build the fields. I think what's going to happen in the first year, maybe the first few events, certainly, is people are going to sit back and say, how is this going to work? And is this a good thing? And am I going to be able to, to make this fly? Because if they find out it works, it's easy to go down to the store, buy a car, throw a cage in it, and show up at the next event ready to race.
You're right. I think there's a lot of guys sitting on the fence right now trying to see what's going to happen with this whole B-Spec thing. And, I predict, at least on the Grand Am side, that Watkins Glen is probably going to be their most subscribed. You're probably going to get a few guys coming down from Canada, possibly, because the whole Canadian Touring Car organization, they are running B-Spec as well. So you have a few Canadian B-Spec cars. So I think that as this series kind of grows and starts to get a little more shaken out, that you're going to see a few more cars being built and the numbers
and Tucker,
come up.
That's one point I wanted to, before you started there. I mean, that's why I love John Bondar. I mean, I've only known him 6 months or something since PRI, but that Canadian Touring Car Series, he's always had a press car, that raced with the 2 classes they have. And I think he's already got, one that they're going to do a press vehicle for, or a VIP vehicle for B-Spec. I mean, I think that's brilliant. Bring these guys in, let them run around, see what happens, And I think, that's all part of Bondar putting it on. And I agree with you. New Jersey's not that far from Canadian guys, and definitely Watkins Glen. Let's see what happens.
Sounds good. All right, fellas, we're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll talk about some news coming out of SCCA. We'll be right back.
Hey, Mario.
Hey, what do you got in this thing?
16 valve, 2.4 liter engine, 200 horsepower. Air conditioning.
32 valve, 3.5 liter engine, 650 horsepower, air conditioning.
Honda builds every IndyCar engine. It's our commitment to racing and engineering. The same engineering that goes into the all-new Civic, the official vehicle of the IZOD IndyCar Series.
Welcome back to the Insiders Report. Before the break, I said we were going to jump right into some news at SCCA, but, we got to talk. We have Peter here from Spirit of Daytona, and, coming off of that big win, we want to know, what do you kind of feel about the chances at Homestead this weekend for the team going into Grand Am?
Well, a couple things. I mean, Homestead's always been tire management, so I think we're in good shape. I mean, we've got 2 good drivers. The car's, really good. The thing I think that it's going to be the responsibility of the team is, do they step up? I mean, all right, so, we've shot across the bow now and won at Barber, and is that for real, or is that something, that was that a fluke occurrence? And, I mean, I personally believe it's for real. But the other thing is, I think, and Bill can
So
comment,
you guys have a target on your back.
well, and but I think that I think other teams will now be gunning for us. I think we're at
Right.
they now view us at a different level. So, it's let's see how we respond. I mean, I think we're good.
It'll be good.
I think we're going to prove to the world that we belong to be there. But also I think that it's a little bit of responsibility.
And
Well, we'll be down there with you. Go Racing TV is going to be down there actually shooting video for Spirit of Daytona, and a couple other teams are going to be doing some features all weekend long from Grand Am. So, folks can check that out on the Go Racing TV website and stay tuned to little
Tucker,
video vignettes.
Tucker, I'm glad to have you down there with me. I can't believe you agreed to carry my bags around, but that's all right. That's good to have Go Racing TV down there.
as long as he's not carrying lanterns, that'll be cool.
Yeah, there you go.
So, guys, we have some news coming out of SCCA. I guess there's some class consolidation in the future.
Well, definitely, if you saw this month's Fast Track that I think came out on Saturday, if my dates are correct. I think it might have came out Friday and Saturday. But essentially, we put forth the proposal to run Show'em Stock and touring down to 4 classes, class 1, 2, 3, and 4. Let's see what kind of member input we get, and then also let's see if the board of directors, approve it. If they're, they directed us to come up with this consolidation, essentially making 6 classes 4, and after member input, let's see if they have.
Everybody wants everyone wants class consolidation until it's their class and it's affecting them.
That is correct.
Exactly.
We'll see how it goes.
That is correct. And then the other thing, I don't think the class consolidation things is done either. I mean, there's a lot of negotiation with, doing class consolidation with GT, and then also maybe combining STO into GT. So, I mean, there's a lot of things still on the table. I had a really good conversation with Tony Ave this weekend at VIR, about trying to figure out a way to get the STO cars into the GT classes and, come up with a slick, maybe penalty for running slicks over DOT tires and let them all run together. So, I mean, it's still in flux. And hopefully the BOD, if they're as brave as they've talked, then, we'll get some good consolidation and it'll be done fairly. And hopefully it's a stronger club after the fact.
Sounds good. All right, fellas. So, a good friend of all of ours and Go Racing TV was at the Formula Drift event, and I know, Bill, you got a chance to talk to Chelsea, but all in all, I understand that Formula Drift event in Long Beach was pretty exciting.
It was exciting. A lot of new faces, including Chelsea's. And one guy that's been, I think he's a 2-time, at least he's won one D1 championship in Japan. Diego Saito is now committing to the full Formula Drift season, like a 1,200 horsepower Lexus convertible. Wow. Just he's an excellent driver, super fast, stupid fast car, and finished 3rd in the event. A lot of people are expecting great things from him, and people who say that the judges can't appreciate new faces in the sport certainly understand the quality of driving that he can do and the fan base that he has. And he worked his way through the crowd. He was in the slow guys for practice on Friday, and I don't think he's going to be there much longer. Certainly, he's one of the best drifters in the world. So yes, there were new faces, and I understand our buddy Chelsea didn't do too bad. Chelsea did well. He qualified, didn't qualify at the end. He qualified well and made a good showing. I don't think he got out of the round of 32, but he's got some fans also. A lot of people that are from the XDC where he won his championship, they followed him and they are cheering for him. And he's got some support from some people, some tires and a couple of sponsors. So Chelsea is he's committed for the season. So Chelsea's he's gonna be heard from before the year is over. And
I'm a big Chelsea fan, and I mean, if there's, talk about an unassuming kid, he's just a good kid and puts forth good efforts. And that's, I guess my question was with Formula Drift being, the skating world, do you have to earn your dues till you get good marks?
Yeah. I mean, that judges have to know who you are. I mean, I was told by one champion sports car driver who was, he's been a champion in World Challenge, and one of the best drivers in the world. He was told, he's told me that one of the judges invited him not to come back to Formula Drift. And, but, I mean, the judging is judging, and it's subjective, and you get people that don't feel the same way about the same run they see twice. So, there's all sorts of ways to get around that. One is just to be good and force them to judge you fairly.
Well, and that's
sounds good.
You mentioned earlier that that's a great picture of Chelsea where he's dragging his bumper on the wall. I'm like, well, I guess you don't get much closer than that.
No, I mean, he puts the car everywhere it needs to be. The one thing that did grade down some drivers at Long Beach was that they wanted to see speed, and everybody who didn't reach a certain plateau of speed at a certain point in the track, they were graded down 10 points. And a lot of drivers, I think 53 miles an hour was the speed, and drivers were at 50, 51, and 52. And if they didn't get to the 53 by a gun, they lost 10 points. So the judges are really stepping up. They want to see speed in addition to the way you handle the car.
Okay.
Gotcha. All right, guys, we're going to take another break, and then we'll be back after this message. The Club, an amateur racer. Here at Go Racing TV, we salute you. And we want to give you all the tools and info to compete with the best. Find out how to do it all from your own garage by watching our Club Racer and Autocrosser shows. GoRacingTV.com, supplying all your video racing needs. Welcome back to The Insiders. So we're going to talk a little bit about WRC. And of course, anytime we talk about WRC, we have to throw things over to our rally expert, Bill. I understand there's a little something going on over there in reference to some of the lengths that they want to run their races.
Yeah, Rally Argentina is going to be a special event on the calendar this year. John Todt, the president of the FIA, and Michel Mouton, the FIA's representative to the World Rally Championship, they both are old school people. Michel Mouton used to run, and there's only woman to win the World Rally Championship events. She has made a lot of effort. Jean Todt has made a lot of effort to bring some of the old school ways of doing things, have longer events, less services, more stages in between services, night stages, and some of these format changes came about after some of the teams got their budget. So it's a very difficult time for privateers to go to Australia and some of the to Argentina and to New Zealand. I hope I said Argentina before, but this event coming up this weekend is in Argentina, and it's a longer event and night stages and so forth. So one of the key people that's being affected by this is, I talked to him on my show, Mads Osberg, who won in Portugal. He's a privateer, and he's third in the points, and he has already decided that he can't go to New Zealand, for example, and Argentina is on the schedule, but that's going to be one of the only events that he makes outside of continental Europe. So there's a real problem, and some of the people who don't have the budgets aren't going to be able to go and take part in some of these longer format events.
Got you. So what's spurring them trying to go back to this longer format situation?
Because they like the way it used to run. Who knows? If factories would let them, maybe they go back to the Group B cars also. But right now, there's sprint events. 3 days. They're getting it down to a nice format that fits television. And some people might argue that it's not a real rally. It's just a TV show. The manufacturers want a TV show because that's where they're going to get the people watching and seeing their names and seeing their brands. But and it's like a Little League. They want everybody that enters to get a trophy. So, every 2 or 3 stages you come back. For about 3 or 4 stages, you get back to service, fix the car, go back out again. In the old school, you used to 6, 7 stages, and you'd be out long into the night. And you'd have to, if you get a flat, you can't just hobble back to service real quick. You're out there. So the factories don't want things that get in the way of them doing well.
Gotcha. Okay. All right, Peter, you were down at VIR at the Double National this weekend. What happened down there? I heard you actually had a nice little escapade of your own on the track.
Yeah. Well,
Peter and escapades?
I guess. I don't know if I'm old and just need to quit or what, but I think it was a pretty good showing for, definitely the man drama class. Spec Miata had a real healthy field, a lot of good cars, and had Andrew Von Charbonneau win on Saturday, and then Todd Burris won in the 1.6 in the rain on Sunday, so that was great. Really, really strong Spec Racer Ford field, and Von Charbonneau won on Sunday, which he's really proud of. He's more proud of that than winning in the. Oh, I'm sorry, I screwed up.
Spec Miata.
Wait a second, on Saturday I forgot. No. Alex Blanos beat Charbonneau on the last lap. Charbonneau was second on Saturday, so Blanos was first, which was a great win for Blanos. A good young kid out of Miami. I mean, he's definitely a stud in Spec Miata, so it was a good win for Blanos. I screwed that up. And then it was a great turnout. Great fields for all 3 of the Super Touring classes, which I like to see, and really good racing. So it was a good weekend.
Got you. Good. So, and you did some racing yourself, I understand.
Yeah, I was on the pole for ST Light for both days, and then on Saturday I ran out of talent going into turn 3 or got a little help. I don't really know which. I'll try and get the video cut so you can put it up there. Maybe the Go Racing TV fans can write in and tell me if I just ran out of talent or somebody helped me from behind. So if I can pull that off, I'll have you guys post it. And then Sunday was a rain race. I was on the pole again, and as soon as I rolled off the grid, my windshield fogged up. And if SCCA knows this, they're gonna crap themselves. But I couldn't see the green flag or the person waving the green flag when I went by the start-finish flag because my windshield was so fogged up. So I loosened up my belts, and I could wipe a hole in the windshield with my glove, and that's how I rode around for the whole race. I finished third. It was a mess. Nothing to be proud of. Crying like a baby the whole time because I was scared to death. But that's essentially how I ran in the rain.
Peter, let me ask you a quick question here. How does ST Light compare to B-Spec? Is that, I don't know. That might be a dumb question, like what's the difference between ice and water? But is there one? Do you graduate from B-Spec to ST Light?
I think B-Spec's going to be an excellent entry-level, minimal modification type class for new guys or whatever. It's a perfect platform for young guys in pro. Where ST Light is 2 liter and under, and essentially it's a tuner class. It's what all the kids are. It's the 2 liter and under Fast and Furious class. I mean, we got. We have regulations. It can only be 11-to-1 compression. You can only have 425 lift. I mean, there's some strict rules there, but essentially it's what all the track day guys and all the kids on the street, all the racers on the street want to run. It's just a good tuner type 2 liter and under rule set. So
do you get a lot of cars showing up for that?
Well, it's brand new for 2012. So this is the first year we've only ever had nationals, and I think it's sad to say, but I think when I looked last month, we were 6th or 7th best class in all of SCCA. So the answer to the question is, yeah, cars are going to show up, and people are just now getting a grasp of the rule set, and it's going to be a class that, that and STU, which is the 3 liter and under, well, really 3.2 liter and under class, are just going to be, amazingly popular. I think STU was third last year in popularity, and we kind of siphoned off some of the STU cars when we created STL. So I think they were 5th right now, and I think STL is 7th most popular. So
that include all-wheel drive. So guys in Subarus and Evos, they can bring their cars out there.
They can bring them to either. You can run a normally aspirated 2-liter and an ST Light, or you can run your turbocharged car and an STU. And then really, if you can run in like the unlimited class, you could take your Time Attack car and run an STO, with a fire breather. So you really can run your all-wheel drive turbo car in 2 of the classes, or your all-wheel drive normally aspirated car in ST Light.
And in fact, the Global Time Attack had their first event. I didn't mention this in the pre-show meeting. They had their first event. Jeff Westfall, who's a pro driver, won by like 30 seconds, driving the most radical Subaru you've ever seen. It looked like something out of Transformers, but he ran away from the crowd. And the Global Time Attack is picking up some of the dregs left over when Redline. Time Attack went under, and a good friend of mine, John Naderi, is running the thing. He understands the tuner world as much as anybody, and that was at Buttonwillow, the birthplace of Time Attack in the United States, and it was a good event. A lot of cars were out there, and they were all over the map. But Time Attack is something that people should really consider if they want to get on a racetrack, much like HPDE.
Right.
I think that's in NASA. But you get a chance to compete against some really good drivers and radical cars.
Sounds good. All right, fellas, that's going to kind of put an end to our show here. Peter, I'm going to see you at the Grand Am event. And like I said earlier in the show, we're going to be bringing some video all weekend long from that event to fans on Go Racing TV. Stay tuned. Follow us on Twitter. Like us on Facebook. And you'll be able to see that video firsthand when it does come out over the weekend.
All right, Tucker, all I got to say is...
Thanks a lot, gentlemen.
Hey, Tucker, all I got to say is, I'm an internet TV star, so if I have fans around, don't be interrupting me. You got to respect my space.
I hear you. Okay. All right, guys, thanks for joining. And as always, folks out there, remember, you can always tune in to Go Racing TV for all your racing video needs. Until next time, you take care.